Today on the Bandrew Says podcast, we're going to be analyzing why 2019 was a complete and utter failure for me, but why I'm glad about it, and what my goals are for 2020. Happy New Year, everybody! Nice, looking like a pretty princess and everything, but this Happy New Year tiara's gotta go because the string is choking me because big ol' boom boom fatty neck, fatty boom boom boy, big ol' boy, fat fatty. Greetings, Earthlings, I'm Breaking Stuff, and welcome back to episode 190, Heaven of the BSP. My name Bandrew, this is what I say. Like always, in the show notes, there are timestamps of everything that I talk about, so you can skip around and save a few minutes. But if you got the time, I would appreciate checking out the entire episode. If you do want a different version of the show, audio or video, check out bandrewsays.com. And if you want other educational and just downright amazing shows, geeksrising.com. What were my goals for 2019, and why was I such a failure? Let's start with the goals that I had for podcastage. I wanted to focus on getting my existing subscribers interested in the videos that I was releasing, because it seemed to me that on prior years, I was more focused on growing and culminating a new audience, as opposed to ensuring that I'm making stuff that my current subscribers are interested in. I wanted to do 12 versus series, 4 high-quality education videos, 2 audio entertainment videos, and 1 new series. And while I was discussing these goals on last year's podcast, I did mention at least I wanted to focus on the quality of content as opposed to the quantity of content, and maybe we hit that. Maybe, we'll see. But over the entire year, I had the goal to release 100 videos on the channel, and I said this would give me time off, and maybe I could take a vacation this year. What a dumb idea that was. What a stupid idea. Not only am I big old boomy fatty fat, but I'm also big old dummy dumb. I also wanted to spend more time on podcastage too by releasing 12 videos over the entire year. So what about this show, the Bandrew Says podcast? I wanted to spread out the workload, so I didn't sit down on Sundays, write, record, and release the episode. I wanted to spread out the research, the outline writing, the recording, and the editing, so it would make it more tolerable and I wouldn't feel as though I am spending an entire day on this show. Then we have creator case study goals. Do you remember that show? That's a show I did 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, and I wanted to release episodes in 2019. You know how that went. I wanted to release 4 episodes. Then we have Geeks Rising, which is my podcast network, and it's the podcast network that this show is a part of, a proud member of the Geeks Rising podcast network. I wanted to curate shows that fit the mission of Geeks Rising, which is to help people explore their passions and educate themselves and just become better people. Just improve their lives, whether it be finding out how to accomplish their hobby a little bit more efficiently or learning a new outlook on life and just appreciate stuff a little bit more. And that was the goal, and we were meaning to bring on 3 podcasts, and I really wanted to focus on maintaining an open dialogue with these hosts and the showrunners that I brought on, because I didn't want this to be a one-sided relationship where it seems like they are coming on and bringing value to me and the network, and I wasn't offering anything in return. So I wanted to make sure that I have a very open relationship with them. They can come to me with any issues, talk to me, get advice, ask for any kind of help that they need. So that was the Geeks Rising goal. Then we have goals for a personal website, write 4 articles for Bandrew Scott, and personal goals, record 300 audio entries for an audio diary, and schedule better to accomplish everything outlined above. But what did I accomplish in 2019 though? You already know that I failed at almost everything because That's the title of this episode, and I introduced it that way. Let's start with Podcastage. On Podcastage, we released around 60 videos, excluding any kind of member videos. There were only 5 versus series, 1 education video. There were no audio entertainment videos, and no new series. I didn't hit the 100 videos for the year, and I only released 3 videos on Podcastage too. But why am I okay with that? The reason I am okay with that is because I am still making videos on Podcastage. There was a moment around February or March where I got some noise complaints from Cheryl, and I was very discouraged, burned out from doing so much work, and I was ready to quit. I was ready to just throw in the towel and say, that's it, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I just want to sit on my couch, be a worthless loser, and watch as many movies as possible. And that still does have its appeal. But I decided rather than doing that, I would just reduce my release schedule to release 1 video per week as opposed to 2 reviews or 2 videos on Podcastage per week. And that decision afforded me quite a few benefits. The first one being it gave me more time for myself so I can decompress, do nothing, and get into more of a healthy mental state. But additionally, maybe even more important than that, because that just benefits me. It allows me more time to focus on creating higher quality videos, and that will benefit everybody who watches the channel, as opposed to just me feeling better about myself. Now I am able to give the people who subscribe a better experience and better information. And that is why I am okay with only releasing around 60 videos and not the 100, and not doing all of the Versus series and the education videos, all of that. But also on Podcastage this year, we launched YouTube memberships, which allows people to subscribe to the channel for $1, $5, or $25 per month, and they get a few added benefits to help support the channel, and they get something in return for that. A few of those things being a monthly podcast for all of the members, $1 and up, and there is also a monthly live stream, which is for $5 and up, although we are going to be doing a New Year's live stream for all paid members of the YouTube channel. That's going to be so much fun. I already have my horn and my pretty princess Happy New Year tiara, and I have my screen in the background flashing Happy New Year, Happy New Year, Happy New Year. That's what we did on Podcastage this year. Really thrilled with how everything has gone, and although we missed the goals that we set, I think we are better off at the end of 2019 than where we were at the beginning. Then what about this show, the Bandrew Says podcast? My goal was to spread out the workload to make it more tolerable and more manageable. There are weeks that I do that really well. There are weeks that I do that very poorly. I do tend to enjoy these more loosey-goosey episodes that aren't focused on news. I don't feel such a strong obligation to well-research everything that I'm talking about, because it's more me just talking about my thoughts on myself and my own performance. I enjoy that a lot more, but I know that's not necessarily interesting for everybody, and it wouldn't be an interesting show as a whole. But the one thing that really sticks out to me about this show is how much we have grown the Ask Bandrew segment. We are getting a lot more emails, but we're also getting something that I find much more enjoyable and much more fun because I love audio so much. We are getting voice submissions. I think we've had maybe 20 so far, and I love each and every one of those because I get to hear how you sound through your microphones, through your audio rig. I get to hear the inflection and the tone of your voice, as opposed to me assuming or how you intended to say something. And most importantly, I don't have to read your emails and screw it up 50 times and have to edit it 50 times. That's the best part about it. And I have had so much fun getting the voice submissions and the video submissions. We've gotten quite a few of those as well. And I want to continue to foster that that activity. I want people to continue to go that route as opposed to just sending in an email, because I have a lot more fun with the video and the audio submissions. Then we had the creator case study. No, we didn't do anything with that. I don't think I interviewed a single other content creator, so we failed that completely. I dropped the ball on that. That's something I would have liked to have done. I simply didn't have the time or the mental capacity this year. Work has been insane. So much added stress, a lot more stress than I've had on prior years. And I wanted to ensure I didn't take on too much following my burnout episode where I just pretty much was ready to quit. I wanted to ensure that I gave myself sufficient time to get into a better mindset before taking on more and more projects that nobody was really asking for and nobody was really expecting, and I didn't want to burn myself out that way. So, no, absolutely not. For the website, bandrewscott.com, I did not write 4 well-written, well-thought-out articles on the website, on bandrewscott.com, like I had set out to do, but instead of that, starting in March, I put out at least one post every single month, whether it be promoting a guest spot that I did on somebody else's show, whether it be promoting or discussing a project I'm working on, or whether it be sharing something that I have learned through working on a project. And I have really enjoyed doing that, writing these more long-form blog posts as opposed to a short Twitter posting or opposed to discussing them on a podcast. I really enjoy the writing process there and have had a blast doing that. But on the note of websites, there was one big accomplishment this last year. That would be, we launched podcastage.com. That's right. We finally did it. After years and years of screaming at people, own your own domain and website so people know where to find you, I finally did it. Congratulations to me. Why was this so difficult, though? If you don't know the story, let me tell you. Back in 2015, I launched the YouTube channel Podcastage. I checked the domain because I wanted to buy it. There was a website on there at that time. They had not updated it for 2 years, so I checked the who is data on there, and I saw that the domain was expiring pretty soon, so I kept checking back to see if the site went down. To my excitement, the site went down, meaning they did not renew it. There was a thing up saying, hey, if you want to renew it, you better check your email, and I did not see the website come back up, so that meant the domain was going to become available. And I checked the standard practices around a domain expiry, and I believe it's around 30 to 45 days after expiration, the domain owner has to come back and renew it, and then the domain it becomes publicly available. Well, before those 30 to 45 days were up, a splash page popped up from huge domains charging an exorbitant amount of money for the domain. I emailed them 2016, 2017, 2018, and 2019 throughout the years and tried to negotiate the price down, and they never budged more than maybe $100. And you may be thinking, $100, that's a lot of money for a domain. How much was the domain? Hold on to your pants. Get a new pair of underpants ready because this is going to make you crap yourself, because it made me crap myself too. It was $2,000 for the domain. You may be thinking, Bandrew, why would you spend that much money on an effing domain? I don't know. I actually do know. One of my good friends had been going through some legal stuff this last year, and it made me think, well, $2,000 in the grand scheme of things is not that expensive. It is far cheaper than it would be if somebody else were to buy that domain and then claim that that was theirs. The brand was theirs. So I bought it and I started setting up the website. It took me weeks upon weeks upon weeks to populate all of the prior blog posts that I had done, post all the videos on the website that I have done. It took weeks, but it is finally completed and it's live, and I am loving having that website. And even though I did not write the 4 articles on bandrewscott.com, if I'm not mistaken, I have written those 4 articles on podcastage.com in the last 3 months because it went live in September, I believe. And there are many, many articles regarding best USB or my favorite USB, my favorite XLR, what's the best podcasting microphone, all sorts of stuff along those lines, and I am loving it. And then we have Geeks Rising. I had the goal to bring on 3 new shows. I did not do that, and I am perfectly fine with that. I was able to bring on 2 new shows, Sunshine and Power Cuts and Tourette's Podcast. Both fit extremely well with the goal of Geeks Rising, the mission of Geeks Rising, and it has been so much fun getting to work with both Ben and Heather and talk to them and find out how they're approaching their projects, what I can do to help them, what they can bring to Geeks Rising, or suggestions on what I can do to update and improve what I am offering them. And I think that's why I am perfectly fine with not reaching that 3 podcast mark. We brought on 2 amazing, incredible shows. If you don't listen to them, you should go check them out. geeksrising.com. Their shows are right on the front page. But it has allowed me time to adapt and time to adjust what I am doing to provide them more support and make their experience better. And I want to continue to do that, be able to adapt. I don't want to bring on 50 shows and then say, oh my God, there's 50 people relying on exactly how it is right now. We can't change a damn thing. Oh no. I want to slowly grow and slowly improve, and I am thrilled with how everything is going there. Logan, Heather, Malcolm, Ben, Zach, I am eternally grateful that you're a part of the network. I love each and every one of you, and I am thrilled that you have chosen to be a part of the network, and I can't wait to see what we all work on this coming year and what we can all accomplish together. So thank you all so much. That is how I did on my goals. I failed all of them, and I am thrilled. I am beyond excited with how those failures turned out and why they were failures. Do not ever look at your goals and say, I didn't hit that 100,000 sub. I hate myself. I'm a failure. No. What did you learn from not hitting that goal? Was the goal a terrible goal to begin with? Maybe. Maybe that's why it failed. I just don't want to see anybody get extremely discouraged or quit or hate themselves because they didn't hit some arbitrary goal or some arbitrary number that they created out of thin air for themselves. I think it's important now that I have learned, I failed everything and that's good. Now that I have learned that, I want to pass that on to you. Adjust what your goals are, because as you are working towards those goals, it's very likely you will find that it is an unreasonable expectation to have for yourself. So never get discouraged, never hate yourself, never quit just because you didn't hit some arbitrary number that you came up with. Just wanted to pass that on. And now that we're done talking about being a complete and utter failure, what are my favorite videos that I have created in 2019? The first one is the Best Broadcast Dynamic Microphone Shootout. The reason that is one of my favorites is because that was the culmination of 4 years of work, 4 years of investment, 4 years of improvement, 4 years of learning. It was the culmination of all of that, with the tests, the acquisition of those microphones. And if I had tried to do something like this back in 2015 or 2016, it would have been a complete and utter piece of trash. And I am happy that I was able to finally do this video where I could, at the time, say, yes, it is all broadcast dynamic microphones. Are there some things I would change? Yes. But can I feasibly do those things? No. I can't feasibly hire a studio for a few days, hire voice actors for a few days to have multiple voices in there, which would ultimately be a much better versus series and comparison. And there was also a suggestion that I could send microphones to people to test out. But if I'm doing a review of 14 microphones, shipping $1,000+ of microphones to a single person that I've never met. I don't quite feel comfortable with that because I'm paranoid enough. So the video does have some flaws, but given my situation, the amount of money I am able to put towards this channel, and how devastating it would be if $4,000 of gear was lost, I don't know what I would do. So those are the limitations. I'm okay with them. The second one is the YouTube studio tour that I did at the end of the year. The reason I enjoyed this one is I really let my personality come out in the intro and the outro, playing this boomer character and just being a complete and utter goofball and messing around. And that's something that was a nice change of pace for me because the videos can get somewhat dry. Here's a microphone, here's how it sounds, here are the specs, here are my thoughts. But if I take the time and add a character in there to goof around and keep it interesting and valuable at the same time, I think that's a win-win. I do typically hate when a video doesn't get directly to the point, but I hope it was funny enough and enjoyable enough with the Boomer Drew character to keep people interested and not become too disgruntled that the video took about a minute to get into the studio tour. We also did some heavy hitters in the microphone department this year. We covered some crazy stuff. The SE Electronics SE4400A, the Sennheiser MKH416, the Rode NTG3, the Neumann BCM705, Neumann KMS105, CAD E100S, and the Antelope Audio Edge Go. That's a lot of money. That's some really amazing gear that I have been fortunate enough to be able to play around with and use. And 2020 is going to be even more insane. There are going to be some heavy hitters this coming year. I have been buying these microphones for the last year and a half, and finally I will get around to actually reviewing them, sharing my thoughts on them, and I cannot wait to do that. But now, what are my goals for 2020? I am not going to set any subscriber number or anything because who gives a crap? Again, I want to make sure that my subscribers who are already there are interested in what I am putting out. That's my main focus. Make sure the people who have already said, I want this content, that I am making content for those people. But I enjoy doing the one video per week, so I am going to stick to that, and I will plan on doing 52 videos on the Podcastage channel. I want to use those 52 videos to get caught up on reviews of gear that I have had for a very long time. I want to do the higher end microphones that I've been terrified to review. I want to do the preamp reviews, which I have a bunch of that I cannot wait to test out and hopefully bring something new to that portion of the audio industry because I have not seen preamp reviews that answer the questions that I have, and I think that will be really fun to do. And I also want to do at least 6 Versus series because since I rolled back my release schedule to only doing 1 video per week, I just don't want to take 12 of those up with a Versus series. I may ultimately end up doing 12 Versus series or maybe more, but at this point, 6 videos that are comparing microphones or interfaces or anything really does seem to make sense to me. I also want to, this is one of the main focuses of what I want to do in 2020. I want to have more fun with what I'm working on and do more personality-driven content. Because as of right now, almost everything that I do that has gained any amount of traction is item-based. It's people are checking the video or the article because of the item in the video. I want to, that's fine. I'm going to continue to make that content, but I want to find a way to introduce more of my personality and hopefully make it more enjoyable for me and not as monotonous and not as dry, and maybe make people subscribe for me as opposed to the microphone that I'm reviewing. That's something that I want to do. Hopefully it works. Hopefully, and we'll see. I also want to do a quarterly podcast for Geeks Rising where it is a roundtable of different people on the podcast network and just chat about what we've been working on, what we've learned, and what we have planned going forward. I think that would be a lot of fun. We did one of those back in 2019. I hope it wasn't 2018. We did one in 2019, and we haven't done one since because I am lazy. I have been so busy that I haven't gotten around to scheduling another one or setting that up, but that is something that I desperately want to do, and I think would be a lot of fun to do. Then we get to websites. I want to continue to do one post on bandrewscott.com every single month, whether it be sharing a guest spot, whether it be announcing a live stream for the Geeks Rising, whatever it may be. I want to do at least one post per month just because I enjoy it. That's something for me. I know there's not a huge audience going to that website. I don't care. I am having a lot of fun on that website doing whatever the hell I want, so I'm going to continue to do that, one post per month. I want to keep podcastage.com running, keep up to date with publishing all the videos and stuff that I do. Hopefully I can find more time to do thorough write-up reviews of the gear that I am reviewing, which is what I used to do. I used to publish the video and then write a text-based review of that item as well. That way, it was more searchable on Google. People could find the website, do all of that. I haven't been doing that. I have just been posting the videos on podcastage.com. I would like to get back to doing the actual thorough text-based write-ups as well, but I got to find the time to do that. As far as awareness of the website, I want to focus on growing that as well. Right now, we're hitting maybe 200 unique visitors a day. I want to get that up to 1,000 unique viewers per day, unique visitors per day by the end of the year. I have some plans on what I can do to do that. Really excited for that to occur. You need to check my Twitter feed on January 1st. It's going to be cool. It's going to be cool, especially if you need some stuff. I also, last goal, do more collaborations in 2020. I still feel as though I am sitting on an island. I don't interact with many other creators, and in many cases, I'm fine with that. I am fine. I am not the most social person. I like being able to interact with people on occasion, but it would be cool to get out of my comfort zone and maybe interact with other people in the audio industry or other people just on YouTube and see what we can do together that could bring value to people. Those are my goals for 2020. Let me know in the comments what your goals are for 2020. Are you planning on launching a YouTube channel, a podcast? Do you already have one? What are your goals for that? Let me know. Maybe I could learn from you and I could steal some of your goals. That's what this is really about. Or send in a video submission or an audio submission to askbandrew.com. You can go over there and find out how to do that. Sharing your goals. Do that. That would be a lot of fun. Next episode could be your goals for 2020, something like that. That would be fun. I don't have anything else planned. I didn't screen capture any of the comments or reply to any of those. I am sorry. We are jumping right into the Ask Bandrew segment right now, and I am so excited for this. Let's use it's the Ask Bandrew segment. All right. As I mentioned, if you want to send in a video, an audio, or an email-based question, you can go to askbandrew.com, and it has instructions on how to do all of that. I would love for you to do that. If you don't want to make me suffer and read and fail at it, send in a video or audio submission. I would appreciate you so damn much. First audio submission comes from gamer.io. Take it away, good sir.
Hey Bandrew, it's gamer.io. I would like to ask a few quick questions. Number 1, how do you mount your Canon 90D? Number 2, can you change your secondary angle to the T6i or 70D? Because I remember you complaining about the GoPro's colors. And I have 2 Versus Series recommendations. Number 1 is the Versus Series video on boom arms, and number 2 is a video on recording softwares. All the best, gamer.io.
Gamer.io, thank you so much for the submission. Apriya. How am I mounting my Canon 90D? I have my Canon 90D mounted to this really weird Manfrotto friction arm. It does a really good job at isolating the camera from bumps of the desk. I love it. Extremely expensive, and had, what's the company? Elgato had one of their camera or lighting mount stands that you could buy without buying a $300 light. I would have bought that instead, but they just released that. So I have a camera mount that's not intended to be mounted to a desk, and it's working pretty well so far. Then you ask, can I switch my secondary camera angle from the GoPro to the Canon T6i or 70D? Unfortunately not. I gifted someone the Canon T6i because they needed a camera. I wasn't using it at the time. I said, I want this to get some good use. I know you will get some good use out of it. Here you go. As far as using the 70D as my secondary angle, I won't be doing that because the 70D is my B-roll camera. It's permanently on a tripod for me to do overhead shots, capture what my gain on my interface is and all of that. And I hate to say it, I am extremely lazy. I know that I would be discouraged or less encouraged to start recording if I knew it would take me time to set stuff up and get going. Right now, I think the only reason why I am able to release the video amount that I do is because I have all the gear set up. It takes me 30 seconds to turn it on and 30 seconds to start recording. If I had to take another 5 minutes, tear a camera off a tripod, mount it up there, get the battery charged, plug it in, do all of that janky stuff, then deal with another huge file format like the Canon 90D, I know I would be much less likely, or at least more discouraged and angry when it came time to do that. So I won't be doing that. I'm just going to suffer with the less than stellar GoPro colors. I don't know. That's my thing. Then as far as the Versa series you suggested, you said boom arms and recording software. With boom arms, happy to do that. I will be doing that. I have a few more boom arms that I need to get. I need to actually solder some connectors onto a boom arm I got. I have been really lazy in that department as well, and I just don't want to ruin them because I'm not the best at soldering. Sorry, I called it soldering before. I'm not the best at soldering, so I haven't done that yet. I need to do that, start using those boom arms, and then do a full review once I have a few more that I don't have yet, but I will do that. Recording software? No. I won't be doing that because if you think people are opinionated and militant about their operating system, yeah. Software, DAWs, it's worse. It is worse. And the thing is, most of the DAWs out there accomplish the exact same thing. And it has such a steep learning curve to understand what a DAW can do and how to maneuver around a DAW that it would take me 3 to 6 months with each piece of software to get a really firm understanding of it and become as acclimated or proficient at that DAW compared to how I am at Logic Pro. And after doing all of that for all of the DAWs, it will have been 2 or 3 years. All of the DAWs I had already tested would have new updates put out, so I would have to go back and retest all of them, and then I'd run into the same issue again. So I don't think doing a really thorough Versa series of all the DAWs is feasible. I don't think it really matters what DAW you use. Pretty much every single DAW does the exact same thing, just with a different set of commands. You're fine with any of them. People swear by Reaper. People swear by Pro Tools. People swear by Logic Pro. People swear by Studio One. People swear by, what is it? There's some really boutique. When I say that, I just mean very low adoption rate. Some DAWs out there. I can't remember the names of them, but I don't think I'll be doing one for recording software. Gamer.io, thank you so much for the voice submission. I appreciate. Next voice submission comes from Guy from mymac.com. Take it away, Guy.
Hello, Bandrew. How are you today, sir? This is Guy over at the MyMac.com podcast and Mac the Future podcast. Just trying out a new microphone. I believe this is one you've tested before. It's the Rode M2 condenser microphone that acts actually quite a bit like a dynamic microphone, which is my microphone of preference. I also have a Heil PR40 and a Rode Pod mic, both being, of course, dynamic microphones. But I find that this one doesn't need nearly as much, doesn't need like an inline amp like a cloud lifter, which you couldn't use anyway because it needs the 48 volts for the microphone itself. But I don't have to add as much gain to get this microphone to sound pretty good. So let me know what you think about it, or if I should just go back to the pod mic or the Heil PR40. Priya, thanks. Bye.
Guy, I appreciate ya. I appreciate ya. Yeah. 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 Why did I just turn into that presidential candidate from the 2000s? Thank you very much, Guy, for the voice submission. You are a mad lad and a legend. What do I think of your voice on the Rode M2? I think it is warm, smooth, and a little airy. I really enjoy it. It is a little bit more mid-forward, but I really like how it sounds on your voice. I want to pass the question off to you. Yes, you, listening and watching right now. How are you doing today? Can you let Guy know in the comments on YouTube what you think of his voice on that microphone? I think it sounds pretty good. Let him know. And Guy, check the YouTube comments and see if anybody responded and shared their thoughts. I think it sounds pretty dang good. Apriya, good sir. Next, we have a video submission. I almost said voice. We have a video submission from Soundspeeds. Take it away, you meanie.
Hey Bandrew, this is Alan of Soundspeeds, and I wanted to congratulate you for yet another year of successful YouTubership. Is that even a word? It should be, right? I mean, after all, you've done it. You have produced hours and hours of both educational and entertainment content for many different people in various different genres. For example, your podcasted YouTube channel has earned over 100,000 subscribers, and that is a well-earned silver play button. You have spent thousands of dollars and thousands of hours producing hundreds of videos so that people can hear what microphones sound like before they have to spend their own hard-earned money on that. And you've also offered sound advice. Okay, you've also done the creator content study or case content creator study. I don't know. It's been such a long time since you've done one. You might consider doing one again so I can remember what the title is. But then you also have your Bandrew Says podcast, which has become something I personally love because every single Sunday when I'm doing my laundry and getting ready to go to work the next day, I always listen to it. And then I always make sure to save a little bit, provided it's not overly short. I always make sure I save a little bit so that I can listen to it on my drive in the following day. So longer episodes are obviously more appealing to me. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Now, I will also add that I have an award for you. It is the award of the, I guess you could say it almost symbolizes the amount of hours you have spent producing content for all of us. Thank you again. Your award is going to be a bunch of little squares arranged in this piece of artwork right here. Do you like it? I mean, I spent a long time making sure that this represents all the different hours you spend in all these little squares. So that way the audience could see exactly, a reflection of the amount of time you have spent producing content. And I hope that you appreciate it enough to share it with the audience because I think it's very important. Anyway, congratulations, man. Here's to a strong 2020. And if you'd like this printed up on a poster to go in your background so that it'll always be there for your reviews on Podcastage, let me know, and I will certainly make that happen. But in the meantime, take care, and I guess that's it. Oh, and I want to also add, it was very thoughtful and creative of you to allow someone to start recording your outros for you and not do it yourself. Good idea there, buddy.
I have to say, this is one of the funniest voice or video submissions that I have ever received. I was on the phone with Alan when he sent this to me, and I thought my neighbors were going to call the cops on me or send some sound complaints, some noise complaints, because I was laughing so hard. I don't think that I have ever been poked and prodded and trolled so much in a single video, and I loved every second of it. Let me elaborate a little bit more about this submission, though. If you are just listening to the audio version of the show, you unfortunately did not see the award that Alan presented me with. Let me explain that award to you. It was a square with different colored dots in the square. If you're aware of what an Ishihara test is, that is a test that was generated to test people for colorblindness. I happen to be colorblind, and the award that Alan sent me is that type of test. It is an image with green and other color squares or dots on them. I don't know. I don't even know what's in the video. I don't know what the award says. Please, if you are watching this and you are not colorblind, what does it say? What does it say? That's the best troll. I can't read it, so I don't know what it is. It could be something horrific. It could be horrible, but I'm colorblind, so I don't know. Would I still be responsible for airing terrible opinions and bad ideas if I didn't know that I was doing it? Interesting question. Interesting ethical question. Alan, legitimately, thank you so much. That was amazing. I loved sharing that time with you when I was on the phone, just dying laughing. I do appreciate the kind words and the trolling and the mocking and the poking fun. It's incredible. And I appreciate everything you do as well. Alan does the Sound Speeds YouTube channel. Amazing educational content, especially if you're trying to get into the film industry and learn how to boom audio. Really great stuff over there. Check that out. I will link it in the description. And I think that is going to wrap up this episode of the podcast. I want to thank you so much for sticking with me or coming on board this year. This year has been amazing for me. Lots of tough times, lots of downs, but we survived. And in my opinion, we are stronger than we were at the start. And I could not have done it without you. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. With the utmost sincerity, you are amazing. And I appreciate you so damn much. What an amazing decade. What a fun decade. Next week, we'll talk about my favorite stuff of the year and my favorite stuff of the decade. So if you have any thoughts there, go ahead and leave them in the comments or send them in through a voice submission, askbandrew.com. Until next week, Happy New Year, be safe, and I will talk to you then. Bye.
This has been a Geeks Rising production. Your executive producer is Bandrew Scott. For more information, head over to www.geeksrising.com.